What's the first thought that pops into your head when you see a picture of yourself? Maybe you were in a group photo at a family event, or you and your friend took a selfie together, which your friend later posted on Facebook or Instagram. How do you typically react to seeing photos like these? If you're anything like the women I coach, I think I can guess the answer. So get comfy. We're going to talk about this today. Hello, my friend. I'm Cookie Rosenblum, your master weight loss coach and author, and I am here to help you stop overeating. This is episode 290. Do you hate how you look in photos? Before we dive in, I want you to be sure that you have my free training, How to Stop Overeating in 3 Steps. You can get it by going to weightlossmadereal.com/3steps, the number 3. Because you know this, you need to stop overeating if weight loss is your goal. All right, let's get started with our session today. We live in a world full of smartphones, and most of us always have our phone and its camera right at our fingertips. We are always ready to capture a moment with our kids, our pets, or our family and friends. And it's fun to go back and look at your photos, right? But do you have as much fun when you see yourself in those photos? Maybe not. I'd bet that most women, and that includes you, no matter your size or shape, feel a little insecure when you see yourself in a photo. It's very common in our culture because you know that women are held up to such impossible beauty standards. But when you're working on Project You, focusing on ending your overeating habit and losing weight, it can be especially uncomfortable to see yourself in a photo. You might be putting a lot of pressure on yourself to make progress as fast as possible, and hoping that all your efforts will result in changes that everyone can see sooner rather than later. You might have an image in your mind of what you'd like to look like. Maybe it's a younger version of yourself. Maybe it's a version of you who wears a certain size clothing. And you hope that you look at least similar to that image in your mind of you at that time, at that size, in that place. You might have a vision of yourself at a certain weight, and you're stuck on that number. You compare your weight and size now to the weight and size you were in the past, and perhaps you come up lacking, even if those old numbers are no longer realistic for you. So looking at a photo of you and seeing yourself from someone else's point of view can bring up many different thoughts and emotions, and they're often intense, and they are also often negative. Here are some of the typical thoughts I hear from women I've worked with before. One is, I can't believe this is me, or I can't believe I let myself go to this point. Or, who is that woman? I barely recognize myself. Or just the general, I look terrible. Now, those thoughts are pretty harsh, aren't they? This type of thinking can create some very uncomfortable emotions. So let's stop for a minute and ask, where are these thoughts coming from? You see yourself, and what you see doesn't match how you thought you'd look. Everyone has an image of how they look in their mind or how they think they look in the mirror, and this may or may not line up with the reality of a photo. Perhaps you were hoping to look better. Maybe when the photo was taken, you put extra effort into your outfit or your hair or makeup. Also, you may think you've been trying so hard and working on your eating, so you think, well, I should look better. You've been doing your best to stay consistent in your weight loss journey, and you want those results to show, and you want them to show now. And if you're not at your end point yet, you might feel discouraged and question the whole journey. Now, of course, you want to see results for your efforts. We all do. Our brains want to know that if we're spending time and energy on something, it's for a good reason and we'll be rewarded for it. So it's understandable that these thoughts come up when it looks like your efforts aren't giving you the result that you want or that you pictured. So let's take a look now at the feelings that these thoughts can create. When you think those kinds of thoughts, you feel less than. This is common if your thinking compares you to others around you, others who are in different bodies. You might feel the sense of shame. You might feel frustrated because you're thinking, I just want to be there already. You might feel angry, partly at yourself and partly at the person who took and posted the picture. All of these thoughts and feelings can lead to an overall sense of hopelessness. Will you be this way forever? Is there no way out for you? Feelings like these can affect not just your efforts to become a natural eater, but they can affect your entire self-image and the mood that you walk around with daily. When you're experiencing the feelings that we just described, you feel bad about yourself. You want to hide from the outside world, and you might stop showing up, even and especially for yourself. You don't feel like working on your goals. And here's the really frustrating part. If you're an emotional eater, your mood may be so down that there's a good chance that you'll soothe yourself with food. You'll say, what's the point in trying? I have too far to go. And you'll stay stuck in the cycle of thoughts and feelings and overeating. Beside the fact that it's difficult to live your life when you're feeling this way, there are other reasons why it's important to examine your thoughts after you see a photo of yourself. If you don't figure this out and find a way to be peaceful with how you look in photos, you will want to give up. You'll continue to want to grab some food to feel better in the moment, and you'll be at the mercy of images of you that someone has taken in one moment of time. Remember, there's nothing wrong with you for thinking these thoughts and feeling this way. There are many factors outside of you that are affecting the way that you react to your photos. Can you think of some of them? It could be the Instagram and Facebook world that we live in that emphasizes how we look, our whole physical appearance. Could be that the world we live in that leads us to constantly compare ourselves to others. And of course, we usually come up short when we do this. In general, our culture is at fault, which is in the process of changing, but it still rewards beauty and thinness. Let's be honest. So instead of searching for answers, we tend to blame ourselves and retreat into our self-judging thoughts. So you end up dealing with both your brain and with the standards that our culture is pushing on us. It's a lot. It's maybe even enough for you to consider giving up sometimes. So when you see yourself in a photo, even one you don't like, how can you be inspired to keep going? Well, you're going to need to manage your thinking, of course. When I say this, I don't mean trying to change your thoughts from, oh, I look terrible, to, yay, I look beautiful. I'm sure you know that that just does not really work. Instead, I want you to begin to try to think about yourself with compassion. Having compassion with yourself means being aware of how your thoughts are affecting you while you're working on improving them. This isn't always a quick process, but here are some compassionate thoughts for you to borrow next time you see a photo of yourself. You can think, okay, this is me right now. It's a result of all that I have thought and felt and done and eaten. And you know what? It is just a moment in time. You can think, I did the best I knew how, and this is where I am as a result. That kind of thought is neutral. You also could think, well, if I were looking at a picture of a friend and I didn't feel like it was the greatest representation of them, I think I'd still feel compassion and love for them. So your goal is to say to yourself, how can I love myself in this moment, looking at this image of me? Can you feel the difference between these thoughts and the ones we talked about at the beginning of this session? The difference is huge. Think about what feelings these new thoughts might bring up for you. Besides compassion, you might feel relief or love or even some confidence, and those feelings will lead you to a much more peaceful place where you can continue toward your weight and eating goals with love, which, as you probably know, is step 3 in your journey to stop overeating. Remember, eat, think, and love. Eat like a natural eater. Learn how your mind works, and love. Learn to take beautiful care of yourself. So now that you've got those updated and compassionate thoughts and feelings in your toolbox, I want to know how you'll act next time you're in a situation where people are taking your picture. What you don't want to do is start to avoid situations where you might be photographed. I don't want you to take yourself out of the mainstream of life because of your fear of how you'll look. Some thoughts you can use to be able to do this are, I need to live my life right now, not postpone it until I am a new weight, a lower weight. I also want to suggest that you don't tell people not to take your picture. Let life unfold. Challenge your thoughts that make you feel ashamed of who you are right now. And when you see yourself in a photo that you don't like, what can you do instead of going straight to one of your old critical thought patterns? Well, know that if you're worried about what others are going to think of your image in the photos, know that you have zero control over what other people think. Everyone has their own thoughts about the world and about you. You can see a photo of you and you think you look great, and yet someone else who might see it, they might think it's just not a flattering photo of you. They can think you look great, and you might choose to feel proud and happy, but whatever they think, it's out of your control. You can decide what you think about photos of you. You can also look at photos of other people and look at how you think when you see them. I want you to create some compassionate thoughts about other people's photos. See them as humans who are just out in the world trying to do their best. So let's sum up what we learned today. Unfortunately, it is very common as women in our world to feel unhappy when we see a photo of ourselves. And it's understandable that as women who are working on weight loss, you might feel disappointed when your image in a photo doesn't match up with how you want it to look or how you think it should look. But your critical thoughts that come up when you see yourself, they don't help you reach your goals. In fact, they can slow you down or even completely derail you. The key to staying on track is looking at your photo and your thoughts about it with compassion. When you're coming from a compassionate place, it becomes easier to accept that you are a woman who's living her life the best she can, and that you don't have control over other people's thoughts about your appearance or anything else. And guess what? That's okay. When you can let go of your critical thoughts, you'll have so much more energy and determination to pay attention to your hunger signals, manage your thinking about everything, and take care of yourself. So this week, give yourself some time and take a look at a few photos of you. Choose one that you like and then ask yourself, why? Why do I like this? Unearth the thoughts that you're thinking that make you feel good about that photo. It's not the photo, it's what you're thinking about it. And then I want you to choose a photo of you that you don't like. Look at your thoughts about it. See if you can come up with some thoughts, alternate thoughts, that feel better, but don't have to be all the way up to, I love how I look. I want them to be maybe just a bit more neutral. Something like, this is how I looked at the moment this photo was taken. It's just me living my life in the best way I know how. And that is good enough. Okay, my friend, you know what you're going to think about this week, and you have your little assignment about what you're going to do to try to make what we've talked about something that you can actually use and practice in your everyday life. Don't forget to download your most important starting point to stop overeating once and for all. And that is my free training on how to stop overeating in 3 steps at weightlossmadereal.com/3 steps. This training uses my proven Eat, Think, Love method that has helped thousands of women using the power of coaching and psychology and a little bit of brain science to change how they eat and get the results they want. Freedom from the whole struggle. This is my gift to you. For now, this is your Coach Cookie reminding you that as you search for answers, keep it real, just like you. And I will see you in the next coaching session.